Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Book It, Vince, the Wrestling Dream Match podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Martin Bennett. And with me, as always, is the American Dragon, Anthony Hall.
Oh, I think I know this one. For once in my entire life, I think I know this one. The American Dragon has to be Bryan Danielson. No?
It is.
Yes.
It is the Bryan Danielson.
Yes.
Or as you may know him in WWE, Daniel Bryan. And yes.
Yeah, but he wasn't called the American Dragon in WWE, though, I don't think.
I think they kept referring to it. Like, when it was like that, like when he first came in with that NXT stuff and everything, but they never stuck with it. But
I see.
All the news right now. Ooh,
the news.
Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, AEW.
Who
Who knows? We'll see.
All of the wrestling journalists and the dirt sheets have been going crazy over the last week and a bit, right? So we'll see if they have any legitimate sources or if they're just talking out of their ass.
We'll see. It'll be interesting. There's been a lot of different things of like Meltzer has said a lot of stuff, so it's interesting. It's very interesting.
I think it's looking to be pretty much confirmed, but I don't know. The wrestling,
you never
wrestling
know. Things
works in strange and mysterious ways.
Things can change in an instant, and you never know. We could have made our episode this week about that, but we have a much more weird and interesting, exciting episode planned for you today. If you enjoy
right. We're recasting Total Divas with our fantasy booking of what divas should be on Total Divas. We're recasting a spinoff of Total Bellas with different Bellas. We're doing a Ms. and Mrs., but it's Seth and Becky.
I don't think that would be interesting at all to watch.
I also don't know if there would be a fun name for that.
No, I don't think so. The man and her man.
Oh, where do you do it?
Does that work? I don't know. Anyways, if you enjoy what we do, we got a great episode for you today. If you enjoy what we do here on the podcast, please follow it or subscribe to it wherever you listen to your podcasts. Come watch the video version on our YouTube channel and make sure to follow our Twitter at BookItVincePod, because that's where you can submit questions, send us fan art, and follow along with our live tweeting of different events, whether that be Raw, NXT, AEW, SmackDown, maybe even Elevation or Dark. Who knows? Pay-per-views, all that good stuff. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
So okay, I've had this idea for a long time, and recently it kind of sparked again because of Nick Gage's former GCW world champion.
Wow.
Just rub the salt into the wound of the independent wrestling community. No, okay. But he showed up on AEW, and it sparked this whole thing that has been around for a while, which is that there's a lot of dudes in AEW that have similar last names. And so this week we are going to be booking, and I have no clue how we're going to do this, but this is going to be hilarious. Rage in the Cage. The battle of
No,
Ethan Page.
Don't do this. Oh, no.
Can't even get through the names. Ethan Page. Hangman Adam Page. Christian Cage. And Brian Cage. With special guest referee Diamond Dallas Page. And I already have the tagline for it, Anthony. I already got the tagline for it. It's Rage in the Cage, a battle or show for the ages.
Damn it.
I totally stole that from someone on Twitter, so I'll just admit that right now.
Well, it's been a great episode of Book of Vince. That is the match. Yep. Okay, great. How we get there? Who knows? That's for you to decide.
This is going to be a wacky one, because how does this even happen? How did this even happen? We don't know. Who's on whose side? Is it a fatal four-way? Is it a tag team thing?
It's got to be, I think, either a tag team, the Pages versus the Cages, or a fatal four-way to become the number one contender. Because theoretically, most of these guys could become number one contender very easily. So I don't know. I guess it's up to us to decide whether we want to follow the I don't want to say easy route, but the more expected route of making the Pages face the Cages, or if we want to do a bit more of an unorthodox booking where all of these people are just fighting each other in the ring.
I kind of like the idea of they're all just fighting each other in the ring. I like that it just builds up, and it's just it. I think that it would be very AEW to have a feud where it's four awesome dudes and they never bring to attention that they all have very similar sounding last names, and they just all happen to be in this spot for number one contendership. And it's this thing where it kind of like is like it just somehow ends up being that like, they like JR and Excalibur and them on commentary, and they're just like, it kind of, do you notice something really similar about these guys? I don't know. It's
Is it their hair? Is it their age?
Two of them are Canadian.
Is it that they're Canadian? Okay. All right. So I think a good jumping off point. Okay. This could be a really fun match. Maybe if they're not fighting for number one contendership, but maybe if one of them is already the champion.
Ooh.
This is me assuming, making an ass out of you and me, that at the next pay-per-view, Kenny Omega loses to the Hangman Adam Page, and one of the greatest buildups and storylines in modern day wrestling is fulfilled when we get our AEW alcoholic champion.
But hey,
Hangman Page.
But you know, it would be then the ultimate, then next building story after everyone is so fulfilled with Hangman finally getting his belt and finally overcoming his anxiety and fear of losing, is him battling in a cage with a bunch of dudes who have the same last name.
Yes, obviously. And it looking very much like he could lose because these three guys are no slouch, especially I think Brian Cage and Ethan Page are both really, 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 really good. And yeah, I mean, no disrespect to Christian Cage, but I just don't particularly see him having a AEW title run.
No, but you never know. It's tricky. It's that thing where it's like, yeah, the legend I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's that, yeah, the legend comes in vibing for the belt and isn't going to win it, but is just going to put over a bunch of dudes, and then also just try to have a lot of great moments that the audience loves. And so this could be a good opportunity for having those types of moments. seeing that Christian can still go, even though we already know that he can. But then it's like, yeah, you have a great face in Hangman.
Mhm.
You have a classic face in Christian Cage. You have an incredible heel in Ethan Page. And Brian Cage kind of floats between there right now, but he's still a great monster. So
Yeah. So
having
we have
these
to
4
decide
dudes in
the
there.
alignment. Yeah. We have to decide the alignment. And I think a good way to do that is Brian Cage can easily be thrown into this if he just like starts winning matches and kind of thrusts himself into the title picture.
Also,
once he shakes off Team Taz.
Also, Brian has he has the only win so far this year over Hangman.
That's true. That is true. I forgot about that.
So far this year, Hangman has only been pinned by one dude, and that was Brian Cage. So if Hangman wins the title, then that's an easy in for Brian Cage to go. I deserve a shot. I'm the only one that's beaten you this year. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay. All right. That sounds like we're making Brian Cage a bit of a face, which is interesting now because
I think he's
now
in the
we only
middle.
we have one heel.
Well, no, that could
one
be
clear heel.
I think Brian Cage can be in the middle, and I think it can be like it. Yeah, it's that thing. Well, I mean, you could. No, I think that can still be a heel move because it's entitlement.
Yeah.
Even though they're not technically the number one contender, they're saying that they're entitled to. He's saying he's entitled to a shot at the title. He's entitled to the title.
He's entitled to the title with the pages in the cages. You know what I'm saying?
Love this so much.
Okay, but like if we play off of the immediate aftermath of him shaking off Team Taz, or him beating up Team Taz or whatever, or him getting beat by Team Taz, then he kind of is already got a little bit of sympathetic energy behind him. Like we kind of want to root for him to sort of find his ground, right? So if he starts winning matches and you're like, oh, okay, Brian Cage, he's a legitimate contender. He never really needed Team Taz to begin with. Then maybe he can approach Adam Page and be like, look, you're the champion. You haven't had a chance to face anybody yet. I want to step up because I was the only person who could beat you. That's a little bit. That's got big face energy.
Okay.
Unless we just want to kind of ignore that the Team Taz stuff made him look kind of like a sympathetic face, and we like make him rage out. Rage Cage turning another page in his career. So, okay. If you want him to be a heel of some sort, here's what could happen. He could be a big baby. And since he's lost the FTW title and got dumped from Team Taz, he is just mad. And he's just throwing temper tantrums and interrupting matches. And he's just squashing dudes and just absolutely decimating people. And cheating and decimating and just doing some stuff that makes a lot of people upset. And then he will approach Hangman and be like, look at all these people that I've run through. I ran through you a year ago. Mm-hmm. And maybe a little bit more because time means nothing.
It would be months, but that's okay.
Months ago.
So assuming that it's at the next pay-per-view. So, but we'll see.
Well, I think the next one's All Out, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next one after that is Full Gear.
Mm-hmm. That's so in November.
This will be at Full Gear. because we need to have the time for Hangman to beat Kenny and all of the storylines to pay off and whatnot. Also,
Yeah.
I think at All Out, we get a breakup. And this sets up one of our other contenders to have a shot at the title on his own. But maybe he has an associate, somebody who is behind the wings that is coaching him, because AEW loves old guys coming back to coach young guys. We know this. So I think maybe at All Out, we get Sky Page versus the Young Bucks. Let's like fictionally say that this is the match, because I don't actually know who the Bucks are facing at All Out, if they are facing anybody.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know if I'd want to split up Sky and Page, though, because then you could have a lot of like, yeah, then you have this whole chaotic thing of these four dudes eventually. But then Ethan Page has that advantage that he does have a friend in Sky. And in the cage match, you could then have moments of like Sky trying to like interject and help him either escape or feeding him weapons and stuff, which could be fun.
Right. And then Hangman has a Dark Order theoretically at this point. So then the Dark Order could come and
that way it's a little
things up too. Balanced
that way. And then also in the buildup, you could have Diamond Dallas Page as the special guest referee, because we love DDP, but we don't want him to wrestle and possibly get hurt, even though he's probably one of the fittest old dudes on that's associated with.
He literally has a fitness program that has changed the lives of many people.
Out of all the old guys that are wrestling, I think DDP is probably the most fit and probably the most able to wrestle, even more so than Billy Gunn, who is still in a tag team.
With his two adult sons.
Hey, did you know that Colton Gunn is undefeated in AEW right now? Crazy. That might not be true after this recording.
Yes.
Oh God, I'm sorry, Colton. I'm sorry, Colton. God, I didn't mean to jinx it.
You jinxed him. You jinxed his perfect record.
But so what I'm saying is, like, it would be fun to then have it as like a fan service moment of like Sky like trying to do something underhanded, and then DDP like stops him and like gives him the diamond cutter. And
but it's a cage match. Does DDP leave the cage?
In the buildup?
Oh, in the buildup.
Yeah.
Okay. But then in the actual cage match itself, a special guest referee is not really needed, no? I guess it kind of depends what kind of cage match this is. Because if it's like first person to get out of the cage.
3 stages of hell. No, please, God, no.
3 cages of cell. It's
well, it could be AEW's version of Hell in a Cell, but it's called Rage in a Cage.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, okay. I'm into that. Isn't Blood and Guts kind of that though? Well, Blood and Guts is War Games.
Blood and Guts is War Games. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay, Rage in the Cage. That's how we justify like that name, not for the sheer fact that it, goes with the last names. But let's call it. Yeah, let's say Rage or
Rage in the Cage. I can just imagine Tony Schiavone calling this, where he's like, and next, our main event, Rage in a Cage for the AEW World Championship between Hangman Adam Page, Ethan Page, Christian Cage, Brian Cage, with special guest referee Diamond Dallas Page.
There's something similar about these guys, but I just can't put my hand on it. I just don't think there's a rare.
No, JR would say, JR would say, good thing you called that, Schiavone, because that'd be too much of a mouthful for me to say.
Yeah.
This is stupid. Okay, how do we get... Okay, so we have the reason why Brian Cage is vibing for the title. Ethan Page coming off of that loss against Darby, that's cool or whatever. They try for the tag team titles, sure. There's got to be some history between Ethan Page and these guys. I'm sure there is. Like, that's kind of the hidden gem of AEW is like, I didn't know that Darby and Ethan had that history, and it made the rivalry so much cooler. So there has to be some sort of history between some of these dudes, right?
I think so.
So I don't know if I can. If there is, then that would be why I would think Ethan would come in. But at the same time, I think maybe no. I was gonna say maybe Scorpio wins the TNT title, so then Ethan's like trying to give them like get them both gold, but I don't know about that.
Legitimacy. It would be very funny to me if we just threw in one more Page into this mix, just as a part of the buildup.
Wait, there's another one?
Technically, yes, but they are not in AEW. They are not in anything right now, except for maybe Twitch. That would be former WWE Women's Champion Paige. Okay.
I don't think that she would be able to use that name though.
What if
she'd have to be
what if she spelt it differently? Like P-A-G-E to avoid copyright. It's possible. You could do that.
You could do that, but we should not do that.
There's bands that do that all the time.
Even too far for me. Now you're just trying to. Now fine. It's just trying to. It's trying to fit the wrong puzzle piece into the.
I was just trying to make another faction.
If she could show up and just be Paige, and it would be like a spot, that'd be really funny.
P-A-G-E. She shows up as Paige. P-A-G-E.
No.
You can't get mad. It's technically a different name.
See, he's not Christian. He's Christian Cage. As long as they keep saying Christian Cage, then it's not. No.
Well, that's the same thing, right?
This is why
you could technically call her a Paige Knight or fucking Paige Bevis or whatever her real last name is.
It's true.
So like, I mean, but then technically it wouldn't be her last name. So
yeah,
you need for her to show up with one name. Okay, fine. We will omit.
It's just so much.
Yeah.
Okay. So damn. Here's what I think. I think instead what we do is we have Ethan Page get into a rivalry with Christian.
Okay. Yeah.
And then when Christian puts himself into the title picture, that's when then Ethan Page enters in.
Okay, how about this?
Because that'd be very easy. Because that'd be very easy for that transition, and then it's like, okay, we have our heel. We have the babyface champion. We have the monster. We have the legend. There we go. Instead of old timer, we have the legend. Who like gets into the title picture out of like pride or whatever, where it's like we don't know who the number one contender is going to be. And the way that Christian gets in is probably after like I think the way you could do it is like maybe Christian and Jungle Boy have a rivalry against Scorpio and Ethan Page.
Yeah, I was just thinking that maybe Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are scheduled to face Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. But then in classic chicken shit heel fashion, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky take out Luchasaurus. And of course, Marco Stunt probably is just around as well and tries to interject, but also gets wrecked by them. So Jungle Boy is left without a partner.
You could have,
and maybe this is,
you could have Scorpio versus Marco on Elevation or something.
And he just mangles him.
Yeah.
And then I think you have to put some stakes into this match too, to like ignite the feud between Christian and Ethan. I think it has to be like,
well, I think
winner gets a shot or winner rises up in the rankings to the point where like when the next title shot happens, it is going to be whomever wins this match between Jungle Boy, Christian Cage, and
an easy in to the rivalry too is like Jurassic Express might be getting towards the tag team titles, and then it's Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. They interject and take out Luchasaurus. And then that's where Christian steps in. And their whole thing could be that, you know, we've already dealt with, we already showed what we will do against legends like you, Christian. We already took care of Sting, even though they lost, but you know, it's a heel. You'd still say that they came up.
We beat the crap. We didn't beat the crap out of Sting.
We didn't care about Sting. We took care of him, and if you get in our way, Christian, like we'll take care of you too. Like that's the whole build there of like, and then that's where they can have a tag match. It gets DQ'd, and then Sky and Page like basically try to take out Christian.
Yeah, and this is where maybe we can have another WWE legend / just wrestling legend in general, Diamond Dallas Page, come to help Christian, maybe, or just be like, oh, like you don't deserve this. Like these guys, they don't respect you. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna be in your corners to make sure things don't go awry when you wrestle Ethan Page one-on-one. And then that way we can get, that's what you're talking about with the buildup, right? So then Diamond Dallas Page comes to be basically a coach or friend to Christian Cage, and Scorpio Sky still has or Ethan Page still has Scorpio Sky. So then when they eventually have a match on Dynamite or whatever, Scorpio could do something crazy, and that's where you get that moment of DDP giving the diamond cutter to Scorpio Sky. And
because it could be that
then we have to decide who goes over.
Well, because you can have this mini rivalry between the Jurassic Express with Christian Cage against Men of the Year, Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky. But then within that, it's that Cage keeps bringing up like, I'm heading towards the title. I'm going towards the title. I don't care who. And maybe this is in the buildup of like, if I don't care who it is, if it's Kenny, if it's Hangman, I respect both of them, but I'm coming for that title. I've been working now for months here. And in preparation, I've gotten myself in the best shape of my life. And it's all thanks to this man. And that's where DDP comes in, and it's like Christian Cage has been working with Diamond Dallas Page, and that's where he says like Diamond Dallas Page says, I'm going to be at ringside for Christian's match against with him and Jungle Boy against Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. And then he comes down, and then there's some shenanigans, and that's where DDP like steps in and does something. And then I think they have a singles match. There's a result there. doesn't really matter too much about who it is, because what it ends up being is that Christian works with DDP. Well, now we kind of built him as like a coach for Christian, but we wanted him as a special guest referee.
It's okay, because I think
it could be
still be the special guest referee.
It could be that then Ethan Page basically calls out DDP and says, if you weren't, I don't know exactly how, but in my mind, what it is that he calls him out for being biased and says, like, if you were in a position where you had to try to call this fairly, would you be able to? Are you a man of honor? Sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's a good way to approach it. He's like, you aligned yourself with Christian because you're both oldies, washed up people who just looking for another paycheck. But if you were actually put into a position where you actually needed to decide a real winner, I don't think you could do it. I don't think you could let the greed, you'd be blinded by greed. You wouldn't be a sensible person in any other situation.
Calls him out for being not honorable and not fair. And then that's where, then it could even be that it's such an interesting, no, that wouldn't work. I was going to say that then, that Ethan Page actually made it talk to Tony Khan and then has, Diamond Dallas Page be the says makes a deal with Tony Khan to make DDP the special guest referee. But then but then people would pick that apart and going why would you do that? Then it's he can DDP can easily do something, but I don't know. And maybe if it would have to be really good writing and really good promos to build up this thing of can you be fair? Can you, if you had to count to 3 and raise my hand, would you? And then maybe this can lead to a rivalry later between Page and Page. Page and Page.
Yeah. I think if Ethan Page is really I think Ethan Page will, in a heelish way, question Diamond Dallas Page's intentions of coming back to AEW. What are you really here for? I don't believe that you're here for Christian, because frankly, Christian's wash up. Anything that you do is not going to help him.
Yeah.
You're just here for another paycheck. You've always been about the paycheck, Diamond Dallas Page. You got a bootleg Billy Blank's fitness program just so you can keep cutting paychecks. And that's very greedy of you. That's putting yourself above the sport, above being an honorable man. And you're such a garbage human being that you cost me and Scorpio a chance at the tag titles by forcibly inserting yourself into something that you were not a part of, which is the Jungle Boy
right.
and Christian Cage.
Right.
So
even though they are going to cheat.
Yeah.
But still, exactly. Yeah, good heel heat there.
And then he's like, okay, well, I bet if we were, if I was in a match and you had to make the decision to count to 3 as I pinned your dear friend, Christian Cage, you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it. And then Diamond Dallas Page is like, how dare you question me as a man, my integrity.
Yeah.
You try to make me question my belief in the sport. In fairness. And he's like, well, Ethan Page can just be like, well, there's nothing you can do to prove to me that you're not just a piece of shit. And everyone's like, whoa.
I think
and then Diamond Dallas Page is probably just backs away, kind of.
I think
So
then
we'll see.
I think then a really good, and I just want to throw this in here because it would be really funny, is within all this promo and within this whole like mini rivalry building up towards it is that Ethan Page at one point goes, this is the only call to the names. This is the only call to the names. This is the only like little like hint at like the whole naming thing. Is he says something along the lines of like, basically, I'm ashamed, or no, that over the past week I've had dozens of people ask me, are you related to DDP? And every single time I see that, I get sick and throw up in my mouth at the thought of something like that, you know, where like that's the only call to it, where it's like I'm ashamed we have the same last name.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. It's
where because Ethan Page is really good about being like that kind of like, he's really good at turning like really heelish and being just like a total monster. But then at least in his like promos and the way he acts and stuff, but then he's also really good at being like that kind of like snarky sort of little asshole sort of heel. And so that's where it would be in the promos where he's just like, I legitimately thought about changing my name just so I wasn't associated anymore with you piece of trash.
Yeah, you piece of trash, and an alcoholic champion, which is like the tie-in. You're like,
oh, okay.
Why call out Adam Hangman Page? What did he do to you, man? He's like, oh yeah, I thought about changing my last name just so I wouldn't be associated with you piece of shit, and that alcoholic champion.
Disgrace of a champion, Hangman.
Yeah.
And then that's where then and then so okay, and there could be like a thing there where Hangman then approaches Page or something like that. I don't know, but that'd be more antagonistic rather than kind of more passive, which is unless someone is really calling out Page.
Which one?
Hangman. Unless someone's really calling out Hangman, he doesn't really do too much. But so, okay. So we have Brian Cage and Hangman kind of set up. We got Christian and Ethan Page set up. Christian then wants to insert himself into this, and it could be that Brian Cage puts himself forward as the new number one contender. And you could have all these like sort of like little stories of like, you know, Hangman beats Kenny. Cool. There could be a couple weeks where Hangman faces like, because this is the thing is like you have a face champion.
Yeah.
We just went off of a long period of having a heel champion. What do you do with a face champion? Well, a face champion is probably going to compete a lot. This is where you can showcase people who maybe don't get the same opportunities as a lot of the top guys. So instead of having like going right into a rivalry for a couple of weeks, you could do that. And then it comes the question of like, who do you want to face next? Or who do you want to challenge next for the title? Who do you want to see step up? And that's where Brian Cage comes in. And he does this whole thing of like, I've completely destroyed this division. And remember, Hangman, your only loss this year was to me. I've beaten you. No one else has been able to beat you, but I beat you. Mm-hmm. So if there's anyone that deserves a shot, it's me at that title. And then Christian comes in. And during this whole time of like Hangman having these matches, Brian Cage destroying people on Dynamite and Elevation and Dark, interrupting matches, doing all that stuff, showing his dominance. at the same time, we have this Christian and Ethan Page storyline going along, and then Christian steps up and like he has been winning matches, and says like I just not that I deserve a shot, but if there's anyone that's going to get to face you, Hangman, there's no one more that wants it than me. Like kind of it's instead of like it's not the deserving, it's more of like I want it more than everyone else.
Yeah, and I think okay, that kind of works, right? Because Christian Cage could be like, I wanted to face Kenny Omega and I wanted a chance to become the AEW champion. That's the reason why I'm here. But I didn't get those shots because there were hungrier people than me at the time. There were young, talented wrestlers that just had a lot more to offer at that moment. But I have been winning. I have been fighting. I have been getting my body back to where it needs to be to face the champion. And now I'm going to give all that I can give to face you, because that's the one reason why I came back here to wrestling, is to become a champion again.
Yeah.
So please let me face you.
And he says and he says there's no one hungrier than me.
Yeah, there's no one hungrier than me.
And then that's where then Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky come out. And that's where then Ethan Page basically cuts down Christian, saying he's not deserving of it.
Yeah.
He's taking opportunities away from people. That whole heel doesn't like legend sort of thing.
Yeah, and he's just like, well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna face Hangman and you're gonna put on a 3.5-star match? Come on. This is a joke. Everybody knows it. It's like everybody in the locker room knows it. Tony Khan knows it. You're just a bag of bones looking for a paycheck. He keeps coming back to that with all the people that are, old, right? Like, I think he's just continually being like, you're not here for the right reasons. Like, I actually want to be a champion. I have I've got my body in peak physical condition. You talk about being hungry. I haven't had a single carb in weeks. I'm starving. I'm starving.
And I think this is then where you could have, well, maybe not here. Maybe then we have, this could then be a giant blow up, right? Where then Christian goes after Ethan Page and Brian Cage goes after Hangman, and then the giant scrap and everything. They have to be all pulled apart. Then you could have a tag match, which would be fun.
Yeah. Tag match with Christian and Hangman versus Ego and Brian Cage.
Yes. And in there could be a moment too where DDP comes out with Christian, and then there's some sort of thing there too. And then I think ultimately it then lends to, and I don't even know who would win that because it doesn't really matter. Don't necessarily want Hangman to get pinned, so it could be a distracted thing where then like Brian Cage pins Christian, or Ethan Page.
I think Ethan Page pins Christian, because I think this is where we get a second moment of that. If you had to count to 3 Diamond Dallas Page, you couldn't do it, because I think we do a classic ref spot where the ref takes a bump and is out, and nobody can be the ref at that moment. And Ethan Page hits his finisher on Christian and goes to pin, and he's like, count.
Yeah, no,
count.
Yeah, no, he did. No, he does.
Page.
He does the ego's edge. And then he just stands over top of Christian and he just looks at DDP and he just points him and he's like, get in here.
Yeah,
Get in here and count. Yeah. And then he just gets on top of him, raises a leg, and he's just looking at DDP. He's like, count this pin. Even though it doesn't technically count, but
so Diamond Dallas Page is just like,
yeah, kind of sticks it to Ethan rather than like, no, I'm not going to do it to my friend. It's more of just like, I'm more honorable and I have way more integrity than you. And the only way to show it to you is by taking the high road and actually doing it.
Yeah.
So you have that.
So that happens. And
then I think then what we have is clearly these four have animosity between each other in some way. And well, right now it's kind of 2v2, but then I think what happens is you have to have a moment where like, well, no, you don't have to have a moment where Christian like does something to Hangman. It could just be that these four are like really sort of clearly all show their intentions. That Hangman wants to be an honorable champion and defend it. But then you have these three dudes who you can't decide who should face Hangman. And even if one of them does get to face Hangman, the other two are going to, well, Christian wouldn't interrupt it if it was someone else, but like Brian Cage or Ethan Page would interrupt another title match. And so then what you could then have, maybe that happens. Maybe there's a Dynamite where it's like Tony Khan has decided that there's going to be a title match and it's going to be Hangman Adam Page versus
Christian.
Yeah. Or, well, it's tricky because I think that Brian Cage would be the answer because Brian Cage has beaten Hangman. And then that match gets interrupted by Ethan and then Christian comes out and then that turns into a whole thing.
Yeah, you're right. So it is. Yeah. So then
it's just, Tony and then Khan, it's the end of Dynamite. It's a whole mess getting pulled apart. Weapons get introduced. All these wrestlers have to come out and pull them all apart. And then the next week is not a contract signing like what we've done and like what has been done in the past, but more of like I don't know what to call it, but it's the four of them there all getting to say their pieces more in like a summit. A summit.
It's a number one contender summit.
The world championship match summit.
And it's moderated by Diamond Dallas Page.
Sure. And so how then? So then this way, all four people can kind of say their piece. And this is where then Ethan can say, then DDP, why don't you special guest referee the match? And that whole thing's in there. But how do we get to a cage?
Well,
it could just straight up be Tony Khan being like, you four can't settle it. We don't want any interference. We don't want.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, I know, because Tony Khan knows that Scorpio will interfere. He knows that if the Dark Order can help Hangman, they will. And maybe he also knows that the Jurassic Express could help Christian if possible. And who knows? Maybe Brian Cage still does have Team Taz in his back pocket. And like maybe this has just been a whole ruse for him to become number one contender and maybe Taz is like, oh yeah, I see that letting go of Brian was a mistake. I want to help him become the champion. So if all of these factors are potentially going to affect this match, Tony Khan's like, we want a clean finish, baby. So he puts him in a cage. Or
I think then during this summit, that's where DDP can be the mouthpiece and announce that.
Yeah. He can also like, I think everybody could say their piece and then Hangman could just be like, yeah, I'll I'll fight all you son of bitches. All at once.
Just takes a
I don't
big
care.
drink of beer.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's
yeah,
just
no,
like,
it goes from like DDP and Tony Schiavone are there, and it's like and Tony Schiavone is saying like thank you everybody and welcome to Dynamite. We're starting tonight off with the World Championship Contender Summit, where we over the past couple of weeks we've had a number of competitors trying to stake their claim for the title, and tonight we'll have let everyone make their case, and so we can truly find out who will face champion Hangman Adam Page at Full Gear. And so then they all come out, and Brian Cage says, being Adam Page before, kind of does that, but then also gets to then poke at the other guys, and they kind of all have a back and forth. Hangman doesn't say a single thing.
Yeah.
He's just in the corner drinking his beer.
I think Ethan Page, not to bite off Drew Gulak's very funny gimmick at one point.
When he comes out with,
I think he is up with PowerPoint, and he has everybody on a slide, and it just shows a picture of them, and he just presses a button, and it's Christian, old, greedy, can't wrestle, always needs a buddy, and it's Brian Cage, scary, don't want to wrestle him. Why is he in this match? Somebody wrestle him later.
Yeah.
and then it's Adam Hangman Page, alcoholic, doesn't deserve to be champion. And then it has and then at the end it's just PowerPoint sponsored by DDP Yoga. and he's just I made my points, and then Hangman will just be
he just and then Tony Schiavone is just Hangman, do you have anything you'd like to say? Who would you like to face? What do you think of these competitors? This being your first big title defense, and Hangman just takes a big swig of beer and just goes,
yeah,
I'll fight all of them.
yeah, all of them. I'll do it. And then he's and then Tony calls you heard it here first, everybody. Hangman Adam Page is accepting a challenge of a fatal 4-way for the AEW title at Full Gear. And then maybe the following Dynamite, or maybe Tony gets he's oh, I just received some news direct from Tony Khan himself. This match will be the debut of Rampage in the cage.
Rampage in a cage? Okay, oh, yeah. I'm fine with that. That's good.
Or what? No, let's go. Maybe Rage in a Cage is better, because Rampage is the show. This will be the debut of a new match, Rage in the Cage.
Actually, here's how it would be debuted. Hangman says, "I'll fight all these sons of bitches."
Yeah,
I'll fight all of them. And okay, and then that's where you can get the crowd really behind him. And he looks at all of them, and he's like, "I know I can beat you." He points at Ethan Page. He's like, "I know I can beat you. I've beaten you before." Points at Brian, and then points at Christian. And goes, "And I'm sorry, but I know I'm way better than you." Or no, maybe not something like that. But he's like, "And you, I really want to fight you."
Yeah. Maybe he just says, "I really want to fight you," because that's what a Christian champion would say.
I just really want to fight you.
Yeah, I really want to fight you. And then
so I don't care how many of you it takes. I'm gonna. This is where you can get him babyface promo moment. It says, It took me over 2 years to finally get back to where I belong. and hold this belt and carry this show on my back, carry this company on my back, and entertain all these amazing people here. And I'm not gonna let them down by not stepping up to a challenge.
Yeah.
So I don't care how many of you it takes, but I'm gonna beat all of you and show why I am the AEW champion. And everybody cheers and everything, and then they start arguing and everything, and then Tony Khan is just like, duh, duh. Like they all start arguing and yelling at each other. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, blah, 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 blah. And then Tony Khan, then Tony Schiavone says, all right, it's decided. It will be a fatal 4-way at Full Gear. And as Tony Khan announced, damn it, I'm stuck in that same place. What I'm trying to say is that then it's like, it's hard because you kind of wish Tony Khan was an on-camera personality, and sometimes he is, and sometimes he is. It's tricky because he's the one making all the decisions, and they always call back to like, Tony Khan made this decision, do, and it's like, you kind of need that authority figure to be like, damn it, since you all can't, like, since you just want to tear each other apart, and because you all like think you deserve this. No one is going to be able to go in. No one will be able to come out. It's rage in a cage. Boom.
Yeah. So I think there is a way sort of to do that. I think you just have to be like, and I'm just getting news as per Tony Khan's request, because you 4 wrestlers cannot seem to behave, cannot follow the rules. This match will be a fatal 4-way inside of a cage at Full Gear. No one in, no one out. It's a rage in the cage. And that's what Tony Khan said. Rage in the cage. And everyone's like, and then people on commentary like Excalibur would be like, what the hell is rage in a cage? And JR's like, sounds like there might be a cage match. Sounds like there might be within walls of steel.
These four men battling it out and surrounded by walls of steel.
Walls of steel. So I think that's the way. And then maybe we'll get we'll have like a go home Dynamite before Full Gear where they do like a big video of like why the cage is important, or like maybe the history of this rage in a cage, and they show like the fucking structure getting built and stuff like that. And it's like then you have a bunch of different people getting interviewed about cage matches and stuff, and they're like, well, the only real way to settle these things sometimes is just by putting these 4 men in a ring together and letting them beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, you could have a really good road to Full Gear where a whole segment is, because that's where they like to do their promo stuff and build up, and that's obviously then you have the interviews with certain people where you can have interviews with Paul White, Mark Henry, the Diamond Dallas Page, and they all talk about their experience in cage matches. DDP famously, in WCW doing the 3 Stages of Hell cage match. Paul White, Big Show, tons of steel cage matches. Mark Henry, same deal. And then it's revealed that it's going to be basically Hell in a Cell, but instead it's their own version of it. It's Rage in a Cage. Instead of like a roof, I think it is just like an open roof cell, but it's just that it surrounds the ring and there is like room to get outside of the ring and go underneath and grab weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and then it's like, and then Diamond Dallas Page is the special guest referee because he feels like he needs to be there to make sure things don't go sideways. So maybe that's involved in the promo.
Yeah, and in those promos, you can have like it. Well, in that announcement can be that it's going to be Rage in a Cage with special guest referee DDP, and that's where then DDP and Christian kind of share like looks of like I get it. Hopefully you don't screw me over. I know you got to be
Don't fuck me over, bro.
That sort of thing. So you have that. And then within these promos, you could have DDP talk to the camera and say, I didn't want to be put in this position. Ethan Page put me in this position. You challenged my integrity. You challenged this. I'm going to show him that I will be fair. But if he steps up to me and he provokes me, I have no problem giving him the cutter. Whatever. You know?
Oh, yeah. I like that. All right. We're at the match now. Let's say we're here. We are at Rage in the Cage, featuring Adam Page, Ethan Page, Brian Cage, Christian Cage, special guest referee Diamond Dallas Page.
Hey, but the build-up made sense.
Yeah, sorta. It did sort of make sense. Okay.
Hangman
what
wins.
happens?
Hangman wins. End of story. All right. Good episode. No.
Well, yes, Hangman wins.
I think Hangman wins no matter what.
He has to. Yeah.
Oh God, it would be obviously a big spot fest, but I think like this is where you're going to introduce weird, interesting things, and I think what has been good about AEW recently is when it comes to these sorts of matches, they've introduced things from more of the independent side, but then also like trying to do new, different stuff with weapons or with the surroundings and stuff. Things like tearing up the ring. Fun bits to like use weapons in different ways and whatnot. So I think then it's like it's tricky. It's these are always the parts where it's like, well, what could you do? It's like it'd be great if we had more wrestling experience ourselves to be like, oh, this would be a good spot, or oh, this would be a good spot. Because it's like,
but we could call it some big spots here. For example, I want to see a top rope kill switch through a table by Christian to Ethan Page. So
right.
He'd set him up. It'd be an avalanche kill switch through a table. Then I want to see possibly a drill claw onto the apron or onto the outside of the ring from Brian Cage onto Adam Page. And then
what if because the best bits are always like putting someone through something, tables, ladders. Mm-hmm, so what if it's like they set up a ladder and it's like on the edge of the ring and the legs are like wedged into the cage?
Yeah.
And then he like drill claws them into the ladder.
Yeah. And that would take him out for a while. And then we've done this barbed wire wrapped spot before, but I think there has to be like a way for Adam Page to get his arm more deadly, if you will,
right?
So that he could hit a buckshot lariat onto. I think Brian Cage will eat this pin. I think. That would make sense, I guess. And that's like how he would win the match.
Ego's edge off the ropes into a flaming table.
Yeah.
Let's just say. Do any of them have a submission? Let's bring in chains. Let's bring in a chain.
Chain. Great. That's exactly what I needed. That is.
Let's bring in a chain.
I was like, barbed wire. I was like, what the fuck? Okay. So I think
gotta have a classic fire extinguisher.
chain wrapped around Hangman's arm.
Okay.
Do you think he could get a buckshot lariat if he had a chain wrapped around his arm?
No, I don't know, but it sure would be interesting if it could happen.
It would be sick if it was like not a huge chain, if it was like a reasonable chain, a reasonable chain. That's our next t-shirt. If it was a reasonable chain, and he wraps around his arm and then he launches himself over and does a buckshot lariat to Brian Cage. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Brian Cage doesn't take the pin. Maybe like Ethan Page can take the pin, and it could be like a dead eye onto like not tacks. I mean, tacks are cool, but like maybe something else that is like a little bit.
Tacks are cool.
A little
That'd
bit
be
devastating,
nuts, though.
Like
so
dead eye
nuts.
onto tacks, and then he'd be like,
Yeesh.
just flailing, and then you'd have to pin him on the tacks. Oh my god.
Oh, here's a good spot. Brian Cage ties up all three of them in the ropes. So their arms are wrapped in the ropes, right?
Yeah.
And then he just brings out a kendo stick and just like goes around hitting all three of them one by one by one by one by one.
Oh my god.
Just right across the chest.
Yeah. Can you remind me what the Ego's Edge looks like?
It's
just the Razor's Edge?
It's just the Razor's Edge.
Oh, okay.
It's just Razor's Edge.
Okay.
It's literally the exact same move. He just calls it the Ego Edge.
So what if you did an Ego Edge into like the corner and there was a chair set up? Like he just like yeeted somebody.
Well, that's why I said why I said he does it through a flaming table, because Ethan Page gets crazy and he brings sets up a table and he like is about to just do a regular Ego's Edge into the table, but then he puts Christian down and he just looks at the guy. He's like, no. And then he goes or he has a toolbox, and then he opens up the toolbox and he takes out a thing of lighter fluid and then lights it up, and it's a flaming table in the middle of the ring. Oh my God. He picks up Christian, avalanche Ego's Edge Christian through the table.
Oh God. This is fucked.
Hey,
also, where's Diamond Dallas Page in all of this?
He's there.
He's just letting all of this shit happen. He's like, okay.
Well, I mean, he's a special guest referee. If he like tries to do anything, Ego is just gonna be like, don't you dare.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they can have a confrontation in the middle of the ring, and then that's how Ethan gets. I think you still have Hangman pin Brian Cage, because then the way that he sends out, maybe then he does that, right? I imagine, if you're gonna have flaming tables and stuff or fire at all, then you're protected and you're not gonna get burned or anything like that. But anyways, he does it to Christian. He goes to cover him. Diamond Dallas can't count to 3. He counts to 2, and then and then he pulls away, and that's where then Ethan Page stands up and he goes, "I knew it. You're a coward, you piece of shit." And then get real close, face to face, and then he goes for a swing at DDP. DDP dodges it. Then Diamond Cutter.
Yeah,
he rolls out, and then that's where then the ending of Brian Cage tries to do something to Hangman. He hits him with a chair. Hangman goes to the edge, wraps his arm in the chain, buckshot lariat to Brian Cage. DDP then turns around. 1, 2, 3. Hangman wins. There's also tons of other spots. Like, doing the thumbtacks and then a friggin'. Oh, that'd be nuts. Any of their moves and thumbtacks would be ridiculous. Drill claw into thumbtacks, an Ego's Edge into thumbtacks, a kill switch into thumbtacks.
there's just a finisher spam where like everybody, the whole ring is covered in thumbtacks, and then everybody just gets a chance to do their finisher. That's so funny. So everybody has thumbtacks. Everybody has thumbtacks on their back.
Classic fire extinguisher bit. Something in one of the corners of the, because again, you got the cage surrounding there, so you get to do stuff in the cage. Ooh, does anyone have like a jump move? You could get Christian do a real dumb thing where he does like a
doesn't like Christian do like a splash of some sort?
Yeah,
sometimes?
I think he does. I forget. But you could do like a crossbody off of the cage into the three of them.
Right. Or also if you have the fire extinguisher, you could have Scorpio Sky try to climb into the cage to help Ego. And Diamond Dallas Page takes the fire extinguisher, shoots him off of it.
That'd be good.
That would be unfortunate. Yes. There we go. Wow. Damn. We have made it.
Anthony, we did it. We booked Rage in a Cage.
We've done it.
the cages of the ages. The rages.
Between the pages and the cages, the ragiest of rages inside of a steel cages.
For the ages.
For the ages. Yeah.
Oh God, what a weird one. But at least we did it finally. This has been on my mind for a while, and I thought I have no clue how we're gonna do it, but we did it. It'd be cool. And it's good to have these like fun little weird, like one-off big showboaty matches in a rivalry. And then it could probably get back to like Hangman and Brian Cage. And then you got, or even then Hangman and Christian or something like that. You never know. But
you never know.
But that'd be fun. Let us know how you would book, if you can even try to describe it, how you would book the cages versus the pages, or the page, that whole garbage. I don't know how to describe it. This whole mess of a dream match. If you have suggestions of how you would book all this, please let us know. We'd love to read your crazy, weird fantasy bookings. To close out the episode, every week we have our question of the week and our match recommendation. If you want to leave us a question to read out here on the podcast and answer for you, you can do so by sending to us online at our Twitter, or go to our website. Oh my God, I almost forgot the URL, unknownerafilms.com/book events. And that's where all of our episodes are, all our match recommendations are, and where you can submit questions. So the question this week, Anthony, is there's all these crazy crossovers happening in the world of wrestling right now. What do you think would be the craziest crossover to happen?
Well, this is just for me personally, because I'm a fan of this wrestler in particular from New Japan Pro Wrestling. His name is Toru Yano, and he is just a comedy wrestling man. He cheats to win. He always does nut shots. He also has like this like DVD with him all the time that he tries to sell. And I think a feud between Toru Yano and Orange Cassidy would be very, very funny, because he would constantly be trying to sell him the DVD, and Orange Cassidy would not give him anything and just be like, thumbs up. And they could have a really good comedy feud together, I believe.
That'd be cool.
And also, if he just like became an assistant to the Elite, and him and like Michael Nakazawa were also tag team partners, there could be some hysterical moments of him slipping in baby oil and breaking his DVD, of Michael Nakazawa not being able to pull out his underwear for his finisher, so Toru Yano gives him his underwear. I
forgot how weird of a wrestler Michael Nakazawa is.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, man, and that would be so great. I would love to see him come over, and he would do some fun programs in Impact as well.
Yeah, that sounds like
that's my guy.
It sounds like it'd be really funny. I guess mine is kind of something that people definitely do want to see, but I'm thinking of it in a much more like grander scale. What if like the Bullet Club, but the Bullet Club just takes over wrestling completely?
Ooh.
Where it's like Impact, WWE. That's funny. And so if you're listening to the audio version, then he's showing a picture of what's his name again?
Toru Yano.
Him with his DVD, which is funny. Mine would be, it's very simple, but it's also just something that I think everybody kind of wants to see, which is the Bullet Club totally takes over. So it's like a reprise of it, but it's like the new Bullet Club because we have Jay White over on Impact. We've seen more people heading into AEW. And then there's been some exchanges between Finn Balor and some Bullet Club members like Tama Tonga and other people on Twitter and stuff. So it's like, imagine if WWE were to play nice and it was just Bullet Club everywhere. And you have all these different members and they just go from promotion to promotion and just take over.
That'd be cool. That would be really awesome. And we could get,
and you got the Prince to take over the WWE side. You have people on the Impact side get back into ROH and
that
AEW.
could be the face turn for the Elite. If the Elite were to turn face again, that's like the Elite facing the Bullet Club would be that would be it. That books itself right there.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So there you go. That's what I would pick. I'd pick Bullet Club takeover.
Very good.
Let us know which wrestling crossovers do you want to see in professional wrestling nowadays? That's a different DVD. I thought it was the same DVD every time.
He has different DVDs.
That's funny. That's really funny. And finally, to close out this episode, our match recommendation. This week, it's your turn, Anthony.
Yeah, good. I am prepared. So the match recommendation I would like to have our listeners check out is a match with Hangman Page. It is pretty highly rated on Pro Fight DB. It would be Adam Page versus Pac at AEW Full Gear in 2019. It is 4.25 stars.
It's a very good match.
It is a very good match.
I think I remember it. I'd have to go back and watch it, but I remember watching that match. I mean, it's Hangman and it's Pac. Like, come on. Like, it's going to be good either way. I forget who wins. I think Pac might have won that one.
No, Hangman wins that one.
Oh, Hangman does? Okay.
Hangman defeats Pac. It's not for a title or anything, too. It's just it's just a very good match.
Nice.
I must say.
Go check it out. It'll be linked on our website if you want to go watch it or just look it up. We'll call it there. This was a weird one, but I'm glad we got it out of the way because it was definitely one that I was like, we have to do this eventually. This is too weird of a concept to not do it on the podcast.
Of course.
Also, just a real quick side thing. This is episode 40.
Whoa.
So if you've been listening to our podcast for this long, either from the beginning or joined us partway through, because we have seen an influx in downloads and listeners and whatnot, thank you so much for coming and checking out the podcast and listening to it.
Yes, thank you.
But we'll catch you next week. Till then, if you want to follow anything that we do here at Unknown Error, you can follow us online at UE_films. You can also follow myself personally on Twitter and Instagram at Barton_Minute. You can follow Mr. Anthony Hall
at Hall and Jokes on Instagram and Twitter.
And of course, you can follow the podcast specifically on Twitter at BookItVincePod. Live tweeting stuff. Send us questions or just come and interact with us because that'll be delightful. Till then, till next week or next. Damn it, I'm falling apart. I need energy.
Next week. Next week.
Till the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. Go watch some wrestling and stay safe out there.
Do the hand thing.
Do the hand thing.